Let me ask you something that perhaps no one else dares to ask. And if at the exact moment your body fails, Jesus appeared before you and revealed what is about to befall America, would you be prepared to see it? I'm only asking this question because that's exactly what happened to me, and nothing, absolutely nothing could have prepared me for what I witnessed. My name is Michael, and I never imagined that a fall, a sudden collapse, would be the beginning of the most intense, real, and spiritual experience of my entire life. I wasn't looking for a vision. I wasn't seeking signs. I just wanted answers. I wanted peace. I wanted to understand that invisible pressure that had been growing inside me for weeks, as if something enormous was approaching, and I was the only one trying to ignore it. And it was in that moment, fragile, vulnerable, completely out of control, that everything changed. Before I opened my eyes again, I felt it. The air had changed. The light had changed. The atmosphere felt heavy. It was as if heaven itself had descended into that room. It wasn't imagination, it wasn't emotion, it was presence. A presence so intense, so real, that my whole body trembled even before I understood what was about to happen. And when I finally looked up, he was there. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal to you is the part you really need to hear. And that's exactly where everything starts to make sense. When I think back to those days before my breakdown, it seems like everything was trying to warn me, but I simply refused to see it. I told myself it was just tiredness, that it was just stress, that the pressure in my chest and the feeling of being watched were just the product of an overwhelmed mind. But looking back now, I realize it was much deeper. It was spiritual. It was as if an invisible hand was resting on my shoulders, not to hurt me, but to warn me that something was approaching, something I wasn't prepared to face. Nights became the worst time of day. I would lie in bed exhausted, but sleep wouldn't come. My thoughts raced as if propelled by a force I couldn't control. Strange dreams began to occur frequently, quick, confusing images, but laden with a spiritual weight I couldn't explain. In some, I saw lights in the sky. In others, a darkness that seemed alive. And in all of them, the same feeling persisted. Something is coming. At first, I tried to ignore it. I attributed it to chance, stress, overwork. But the signs began to repeat themselves with a frequency that no longer made sense. Objects falling for no reason, noises in the house when everything was silent, coincidences that linked together like pieces of a puzzle. Sometimes, in the middle of the day, I would stop suddenly and remain motionless, just feeling something. I can't explain it. It was as if the air around me became heavier, as if the environment changed for a second, as if someone was standing behind me, breathing slowly. I would turn to look, and there was nothing there, but the feeling remained. Inside me, a silent war began to rage. One part of me tried to continue life normally, following routines, smiling at people, pretending everything was under control, but another part, deep down, knew I was heading towards some kind of breakdown. The emotional exhaustion only grew. The physical fatigue seemed to double each day. And my mind began to enter a state I had never experienced before. The feeling wasn't one of madness, but of spiritual overload, as if something was trying to enter my consciousness and I was fighting to keep my inner doors closed. I tried to resist. I tried to rationalize everything. But the more I denied it, the heavier the weight became, until dawn arrived, that dawn that changed everything. The house was absolutely silent. No cars passed on the street. No neighborhood lights were on. There was only darkness and a silence so profound it seemed to have a life of its own. I felt my breath become short, as if the air were becoming denser. I was overcome by such intense restlessness that I couldn't remain seated. I got up and started walking around the house, but each step seemed heavier than the last. That's when it happened. It wasn't something cinematic nor dramatic in the human eye, but inside me it was an earthquake. My knees simply gave way. I couldn't take it anymore. My body collapsed before my mind could understand what was happening. It wasn't fainting. I was conscious but powerless. It was as if my spirit had decided to stop everything and tell me, enough, you need to listen. On the ground, barely able to support myself, I felt my hands trembling. It wasn't cold. It wasn't ordinary fear. It was something profound, something spiritual, something that came from within and from without at the same time. And when I realized I couldn't handle it alone, The words came out of my mouth before I even thought, "Lord, what is happening to me? Please, speak to me. Show me. I can't take it anymore." It was the most sincere request I've ever made in my life. There was no force, no pride, no logic. There was only surrender. And right after that request, something inside me simply knew. I was about to see what no human being wants to see, but which at the same time I needed to see. And it was right there, on that cold ground, alone, in the darkness of the early morning, that I realized whatever was approaching wasn't just for me. It was something that would touch millions, something that would affect all of America, something that would change everything. And it is from this exact point that everything begins to unfold. I remember the exact moment everything changed. You know when the air feels heavier, like someone has closed an invisible door behind you. That's how it was. First, I felt the temperature change. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold. It was as if the air were alive, conscious, watching. The light in the room began to vibrate with an intensity I couldn't explain. Nothing flickered, nothing shone, but it seemed like everything was breathing. The atmosphere became so dense that for a second I thought my own body was going to faint again. And the strangest thing is that, even feeling fear, a fear that gripped my chest tightly, there was a deep peace running through me, as if something was saying, "Don't run away. You need to see this." Before I even understood what was happening, everything around me began to fall silent. It wasn't ordinary silence. It was a living, full, almost conscious silence. I felt his presence before I saw him. I felt as if someone had entered the room without opening the door, without making a sound, without announcing anything. And when he finally appeared, it wasn't with thunder, exploding lights, or anything theatrical. It was simple, real, too close. Jesus was there, so close that my thoughts seemed small. Everything within me understood even before I reacted. His gaze, that gaze cannot be translated into human words. It wasn't a look of judgment nor of accusation. It was a look that said, "I know, I saw everything, and that's why you're here now." That look alone was confirmation that something gigantic was about to be revealed. It was then that the physical world disappeared before my eyes. It didn't end, it didn't vanish. It just ceased to matter. I felt my body present, but at the same time, it was as if I were being pulled into another reality. And suddenly, I saw America as it is, and I saw America as it will be. It was as if two different times intersected before me, like superimposed images of the same photograph, but completely different. The cities appeared first, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, but not with their usual vibrant light. No, the streets were tense. People looked at each other with distrust, as if something invisible was circulating through the country, and everyone knew it, but no one wanted to admit it. I saw divided neighborhoods. I saw people fighting without knowing exactly why. I saw families separated by ideologies and fear. The sky no longer looked like the sky. It had a strange, heavy, almost metallic color. And then the signs began. Strange lights high above, movements in the sky that didn't seem natural, distant sounds as if something was about to tear apart in outer space. I tried to understand. I tried to ask for an explanation, and that's when Jesus spoke. A short phrase, yet so profound that it pierced my spirit as if it had been written inside me. "This will come sooner than you think." And at that moment I understood. What was coming was not just a physical event. It was spiritual. It was profound. It was urgent. America wasn't just heading toward conflict. It was being pushed toward it. The division wasn't political. It was an open wound in the soul of the nation. And what I was seeing was going to affect millions. When Jesus' words resonated within me, something I didn't expect happened. I felt shame. Shame for all the times I ignored the signs. Shame for all the times I postponed my faith. Shame for never having imagined that he would choose me to see that. My first reaction was to think, but why me? I'm not enough. I'm not strong. I'm not holy. It seemed impossible to carry something so great, but at the same time something began to grow inside me. A courage I had never felt before, as if the fear was being pushed out of my chest and replaced by a sense of purpose. I understood in that instant that it wasn't about me being worthy. It was about me being available. Jesus didn't choose me because I was the best. He chose me because I was broken at the right time, because he knew I would speak, that I wouldn't remain silent, that I wouldn't pretend nothing happened. And then the weight of the vision fell upon me like an avalanche. It wasn't a weight of despair, but of responsibility. The clear feeling that if I didn't tell this, if I remained silent, I would be betraying not only what I saw, but every person who could have been warned, prepared, awakened. I made a silent commitment at that moment. I didn't say anything aloud. I didn't need to. He knew, and I knew. I would tell the world, even trembling, even afraid, even without understanding everything. The vision began to dissolve like smoke carried away by the wind. First the sounds disappeared, then the light, then the images. His presence was still there, but each second seemed to pull me back to my body. It was painful, as if the spirit returned before the mind, and the body was the last to follow. When I woke up, if I can even call that waking up, I was on the floor, my hands trembling, my face wet with tears I hadn't even noticed. My whole body was sweating, as if I had run miles, but at the same time I couldn't move my legs. The house was the same, but I wasn't. The clock showed the same time. The walls were the same. Everything seemed normal, but nothing inside me was normal. It was as if the world had been silently rearranged while I was away, and I immediately realized I hadn't imagined anything. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't dreaming. The clarity of it was so strong it hurt. I knew I had seen something real as the floor I was lying on. When I managed to stand up, I felt there was no turning back. Nothing I would experience afterward would be greater than that. Nothing would be more important. And it was in that instant, still trembling, still emotional, still trying to understand my own breathing, that I decided, I'm going to tell. It doesn't matter who believes or doesn't believe. It doesn't matter who laughs, criticizes, or doubts. I witnessed it, and those who witness it no longer have the right to remain silent. When I finally came to my senses, when I could breathe again like someone returning from a place where time doesn't exist, everything around me seemed the same, but nothing inside me was the same. I stood there, trying to understand how I would continue living after having seen something so serious, so imminent, so impossible to ignore. And perhaps that's exactly what I need to tell you now. America is not heading towards something ordinary. It is heading towards something decisive, something that will not only affect cities or systems, but will strike at the spiritual heart of the country. As I tried to put into words everything I had seen, one impression overwhelmed me. What's coming isn't about politics. It isn't about economics. It isn't about ideologies. It's about spiritual destiny. It's about an invisible battle that has already begun and is shaping every choice, every division, every sign that many prefer not to see. And if you're here, listening to this so far, don't think it's by chance. Spiritual callings never happen by chance. I deeply feel that this message is not just an account, it's a warning, it's an alert, it's a plea from heaven that no one sleep while something so big approaches. But at the same time, there is hope. There is always hope when Jesus decides to show it before it happens. He doesn't reveal it to destroy. He reveals it to prepare. And before I finish, I want to pray for you. Yes, for you who are here, perhaps with a racing heart, perhaps trying to understand why you are feeling this weight, this coldness in your soul, this fire in your chest. Lord Jesus, I pray now for every person who has heard this revelation. May your Spirit bring discernment, strength, and vigilance. May every restless heart find direction in you. Open spiritual eyes, strengthen the weary, awaken the sleeping, and may no one here walk alone in the days to come. Guide, protect, and enlighten each one of them. In your name, Jesus. Amen. If while I was praying, you felt something, a shiver, a heaviness, a clarity, a warmth in your soul, don't ignore this. This is often how he confirms that something here was meant directly for you. And now, I want to ask a single thing, but that helps this content reach those who really need to hear it. Comment, I am awake, that's all. One sentence, but a powerful spiritual statement. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do it now. Not for the sake of numbers, but because what's coming is serious, and I don't want you to miss the upcoming revelations. Because in the next video, a completely different account, but one that confirms everything you've heard today, it will be revealed. It is the vision of a woman named Sarah, a vision that shocked even those who don't believe in anything spiritual, a vision so clear, so direct, so impossible to ignore, that many who watched said they were never the same again.